Not since September 3, 1939, the day war broke out, have we faced such a fraught autumn. The world is in turmoil after the US, UK, Australia defence agreement, a UK-US, preferring nuclear power submarines to French diesel. China is predictably affronted by this unspoken declaration against its Asia-Pacific territorial ambitions. The French beside themselves with fury with perfidious Albion about being ignored and losing contracts in the bargain. Nor are the Germans better disposed towards us. You would not have imagined that France and Germany have been demanding a European army, putting the security provided by NATO at risk. Germany is all the more shameless for building a gas pipeline from Russia, thereby opening itself and wider Europe to blackmail by Vladimir Putin, who is no less expansionist than the Chinese. Gazprom, the Russian state energy giant, is already playing the markets. Incidentally, why is that two of the world's largest countries so desperately want to extend their borders in contrast to the USA? Or does dictatorship drive all dictators mad? Which brings me to our own madness, our homemade energy crisis. We live in dire risk of power cuts because of our incomprehensible reliance on wind and solar energy while phasing out coal, gas and oil generation and fiddling about with nuclear power. But now a highly disturbed energy market, with soaring prices, also threatens a huge increase in energy bills and even 3-day weeks in high-energy using companies. All this only weeks before the UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, COP26, a mass gathering of the environmental clans that leaves clouds of aviation CO2 in their wake. Boris Johnson desperately wants a success, as if that were remotely possible since so little has been achieved over 2 decades of pretension. Will the coal-fired Chinese president, Xi Jinping, turn up after a UK-US? Don't hold your breath. And, irony of ironies, we now discover we could have a food crisis because of a shortage of CO2 used in processing. How naive of me to think our policy is supposed to achieve zero carbon within 30 years. One crisis after another is queuing up as the leaves turn to flame. This leads to the COVID-ravaged economy costing £400 billion and leaving a £300 billion budget deficit. In short, we are up to our necks in trouble with nothing left in the bank, rather like the USA where political games could see the government run out of money. Yet some Tories are still demanding no more tax increases, instead, they want tax reductions before the next election. How deluded can you get when a Tory government, admittedly partly in coalition with the Liberal Democrats, had still not eliminated Gordon Brown's £153 billion deficit in 2010 before COVID struck? In fact, our political parties are riddled with delusion. The Liberal leader, Sir Ed Davey, is a serious case. He thinks his party can win the next election. Not even Labour would go that far as their annual conference opens with a rival trot gathering in Brighton still glorifying yesterday's man, Jeremy Corbyn. As for Nicola Sturgeon and her SNP Green coalition, they are not just deluded but blind and deaf to the fate that awaits an independent Scotland. Assuming that traditionally canny Scots are daft enough to follow them.